Hello and welcome to Tuesday News Day, your number one resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. The Quest 2 has been removed from storefronts in most of the EU, while Quest Pro details are mentioned more and more by Mark Zuckerberg. And if you're thinking about buying a Valve Index, you may want to wait. We have a ton of information to unpack on what the Index 2 or whatever this new project may look like, and it may be looking like standalone VR is in Valve's future. This is probably the most exciting Tuesday News Day I have ever made. This is a really good one, so strap in and let's just get right into the news. Have you tried to purchase a Valve Index recently? If so, you may realize there are some very weird things going on. The official purchase link for the Valve Index is dead, and it's been dead for 5 days now actually. Of course, you can still go on Steam and purchase a Valve Index full kit as normal, but the actual link is still dead. That could mean absolutely nothing. Maybe nobody at Valve has noticed. Or it could be one of the many hints recently that we're getting information on Valve's next VR projects really soon. I mean, it's been 2 years since the Index launch. We are ripe for something new. The value proposition of the Valve Index is starting to become a little rough, and the headset is getting a little dated, and in my opinion, it's overpriced at the moment, still costing the same $1,000 it did back at launch. So before I break down every bit of information we have on Valve's next VR headset, let me give a disclaimer. This is a composite of information from numerous patents, leaks, data mines, and sources that I trust. This is a labor of love to bring all of this information into one place by myself, a ton of sources that are kind of risking everything to even say anything, Brad Lynch, or sadly it's Bradley, and numerous others that have a keen eye out looking for these sorts of things. And I have two big things I want to say right away. One, if you're in the market for a Valve Index right now, I urge you to wait. You've waited 2 years, it'll be worth waiting even if it's a few more months to see if anything is announced. But watch this before ordering so you can make a more informed decision off of your own deductions from what I have to say. I kind of feel like recommending anyone to buy an Index right now is kind of like recommending someone to buy a Quest in June of 2020, just months before the vastly superior and cheaper Quest 2 released. It's that sort of situation. And number two, I am a huge PC VR fan. I love high fidelity VR and Steam VR, but the writing is on the wall, let's be real. The future of VR right now at least is standalone, and Valve knows this. This is part of the reason why the Quest 2 is so successful in the VR space. Okay, let's just get into it because we have a lot to cover. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Everything kind of slots together. Let's start with this patent that Valve filed in 2020 for a series of head straps, particularly mentioning a modular head strap with wireless capabilities. There were 3 designs detailed in the patent, but the running theme was improved ergonomics and a head strap design we've pretty much never seen before. This design hugs the occipital bone, something particularly useful if a headset is heavy, wireless capabilities via a module, and most important here, a processing unit on the rear of the headset, which we'll touch back on soon, but pretty much it's a module that allows for standalone play like a Quest, or to be used wirelessly. One of these images in the patent very clearly looks like it is a Valve Index, but has an extra new module on the back, but that will come into play soon. The next is hot news, and the past few days is where everything has really come together, and it's more than just patents. A new patent was filed back in January of this year, just published a few days ago. It details a brand new inside-out tracking method that doesn't need base stations at all, with these specific details: a forward camera capturing image sensor data, at least one processor to process that image data, an IMU or inertial measurement unit that essentially measures the angular rate or rotation of the headset, which all headsets have by the way, so do your controllers, trackers, etc. But this is the more exciting part, something new, but it's actually not new at all. You know your mouse, that little laser that tracks the movement of the mouse to sometimes incredible precision? That's what's known as an optical flow sensor, and this headset design is full of them. Mentioned to have a capture frame rate of equal to or greater than 1000 frames per second. And optical flow sensors aren't just used in mice. Their main purpose is to sense optical flow, or the pattern of apparent motion of objects, surfaces, and edges in a visual scene caused by the relative motion between an observer and a scene. Created in the 1940s, it's used in robotics, unmanned vehicles, really really all sorts of applications for the express purpose of object and motion tracking and detection. Sounds like something pretty useful for the precise tracking of a virtual reality headset, using a quote, plurality of optical flow sensors, as detailed in the patent. Eye tracking is also mentioned here, quote, while not illustrated in Figure 1, some embodiments of such an HMD system may include various additional internal or external sensors, such as to perform pupil tracking separately for each eye, end quote. Keyword may, so keep that in mind regarding eye tracking. So this might feel like we have Valve's next headset pinned down on details, at least patent-wise. A brand new inside-out tracking system, eye tracking, a wireless module with onboard processing to essentially have a standalone VR headset, but the plot thickens even further this morning. Leaks within the latest Steam client beta have detailed a device called the SteamPal within String, also known as Project Neptune. Something that very clearly references Steam Big Picture, Wi-Fi connection, Bluetooth, of course, rumble, haptics, but most importantly what pertains to VR are grip buttons and trackpad input. Two things that Valve currently only has one device that has those features, and that's the Valve Index's Knuckles. Now, of course, the immediate reaction to people outside the VR industry is that Valve is making a Nintendo Switch-like portable Steam console, which is not outside the realm of possibility, of course. However, given Valve's recent patent filings for explicitly a self-contained processing module for a VR headset, it's kind of easy to connect the dots. See how this is starting to add up? But there's more. In fact, this is where my sources come in a bit, but take everything with a grain of salt. Please. I know I am, and so should you too. Valve has a group of people under heavy non-disclosure agreements to help develop the Neptune or SteamPal, and develop games for the Neptune under what's called the Callisto Developer Program, first mentioned all the way back in September of last year. Within these shared files are numerous references to VR, as well as new features referring to virtual shutdown, restart, and suspend system, functions that kind of make no sense without context. What I'm trying to say is Neptune may be a self-contained system. Yes, this could be a new console, but evidence points otherwise, and some sources have even mentioned a duality concept. Essentially, Valve creating the backbones of a system for remote and standalone play, whether that's VR or flat screen, as this may be Valve's next platform in general. And take this one with the biggest grain of salt ever, but numerous sources that obviously want to stay entirely anonymous due to these heavy NDAs and risk of legal trouble have practically conveyed this sentiment to me, whether it's explicitly or not. They've either seen pictures of a unit or they have tried a unit in hand, and that's all that they can say, and I just want to convey that because there are people out there that say they have access to this hardware, but of course they don't want to reveal details. So what do I think of this? Mind you, this is my opinion based on what I know so far. Take it as that, please. It could be 100% right, it could be 100% wrong, or it could be somewhere in between. So I have a theory here. I believe Valve is 1, creating or has created a standalone VR headset using optical flow sensors and a single wide FOV camera that has onboard processing with essentially wireless link capability or tetherability. No clue on new or different controllers or a refresh of the Knuckles. And 2, I believe Valve may release an add-on for the current Valve Index that enables the standalone and wireless features of the new headset, so as to not leave thousands of current Index users in the dust with an outdated headset. You just buy the new module and your headset is upgraded. And this is backed up by quite a few things, but it's really close to the original patent I talked about with Concept 1, a headset that looks remarkably similar to a Valve Index, almost so close you could believe it was an Index, but with a module on the back for processing. Some people have alluded to Neptune being a controller for Valve, and that's not out of the realm of possibility, but various references to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and airplane mode, and it having its own games lead me away from that assumption. So that's what we have so far. Actually, a ton of information, and it's all new. This is not patent trolling. In fact, small modifications have been made to the patents over time, and they've actually been updated, likely to better reflect the actual product being made. And I wouldn't assume this is going to be super cheap, but for the person that doesn't care for Facebook or the Quest 2 but still loves VR and wants the cutting edge, we may have something from Valve sooner than we all think, and it may be the competition that we want, just maybe not at the price range that we want. Of course, I gotta say this too, if you are super hyped, honestly, so am I, but it's important that we keep a level head, ingest as much information as possible, work together as a community, and realize that this is not confirmed. These are patents, leaks, anonymous sources, and deduction, so keep that in mind. And of course, like always, you best bet anytime I get more more information on this, I will be updating you all every single week on Tuesday Newsday. This is something exciting, but it's also a little scary. So as long as we're all aware of where this is at and how valid these things are, I think this will spread a lot of awareness in the community. Now, let's talk about the Quest 2 real quick before the end of the video, because there's actually some massive things going on for the platform as a whole. Quest 2 was completely delisted from Amazon due to a skin irritation issue with the facial interface. This is kind of old news, it happened before, but being delisted is brand new. Here's what an Oculus spokesperson told Road to VR, quote, "Amazon has temporarily paused the selling of Quest 2s in Europe in response to an EU Commission filing this week regarding the foam interface. We shared back in April that the foam interface issue has been resolved, and we're working closely with Amazon to have Quest 2 back on sale as soon as possible," end quote. Of course, the Quest 2 is still not being sold in Germany due to antitrust regulators looking to stop the integration of Facebook into Oculus headsets, specifically regarding the requirement of Facebook logins to use the Quest 2 at all. So the EU Commission is already breathing heavy down Facebook's back, and I don't think they like the Facebook login just as much as any one of us, except for instead of just not liking it, Germany sees it as a danger to businesses and consumers. But back on the EU Commission in general, I find it odd that the EU Commission would halt the sales of Oculus Quest 2s for an issue that's already been solved back in April, and there may be more at play here, whether that's a delay tactic for a larger antitrust commission, which is pretty unlikely, not gonna lie, or far more likely related to the April issue due to a chemical that was found on the facial foam on Quest 2s that are known eye and skin irritants may have shown up again in lab tests. There's really no confirmation on any of this, just the EU Commission stopped the sales. Right now, if you bought a Quest 2 during a certain period of time of manufacture, you are eligible for a free replacement, so get on that if that's your case. But for now, if you're in the EU, you still can buy a Quest 2 directly from Facebook, just not through Amazon and a couple other storefronts. And if you're looking to wait for an Oculus Quest Pro, I do want to remind people that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and Andrew Bosworth have since confirmed the rumors that the Quest Pro is in fact in the works, and we have some details on that. The biggest theme here is more sensors, likely relating to eye tracking, face tracking, and possibly heart rate sensors. Mark Zuckerberg talks about the Quest Pro as a system of sensory upgrades from the Quest that allows the device to be more versatile, better suited for fitness, healthcare professionals, and higher fidelity gaming and productivity, which, as Mark says, better fits their vision for the wide range of use cases possible within VR, which I suppose I can get behind. But more biometric data being handed over to big Facebook, I mean, there's two sides to every coin. But now it's time for question of the week from A Life in Animation. Will I ever try out the Cat VR walking treadmill? Yes, in fact, mine should arrive sometime in June, and I'm extremely excited to make really cool content with it, and hopefully you are too. Make sure to leave your own question of the week below. I may answer yours next. I'm currently having a family emergency of sorts, and I'll talk about it later, maybe on a stream or something, but just know I'm trying my absolute hardest to bring content to you guys. I've literally got a blanket over my head while I'm recording just so I don't have reverb in this room, and I'm working from a laptop, so I'm trying. But hey, here we are, a video, it's all good. Either way, if you want to talk directly with me about the contents of this video and to help in this search to unpack this whole Valve mystery, come join my Discord server. We have meetups and VR discussions. It's honestly a beautiful VR place. So come on in if you want to make some VR friends. I want to thank all of my amazing Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas like Alexander, Atomally, Benji, Biz, CPCJ79, Debonair Fab, Destroyer Biscuit, Fur Trap, Fusion Oak, HGG Randon, It's Lumi, John, KR, Lucid VR, Mud King, Ronzarelli, Skirt Cobain, That Brock Guy, Very Evil Shadow, and Zale. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.